so excited.
Time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What up? It is Two Guys and a Goalie presented to you by GS Construction. They are hiring right now. If you want to be a part of a great team, go to the website, gsconstruction.ca. Click on, what is it? Hire now. Let me see. I'm going to look it up right now. I was having laptop issues a little bit earlier on in the day, Gage. You saw my face earlier today.
It's awful.
Holy
awful. Nothing
smokes.
worse than laptop issues. But how about this? It's like a blast from the past with Hernan.
I know, that is kind of cool. Hernan Salas doing the produce. No, that is cool.
Yeah, just doesn't have his moniker anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Although it was pretty accurate. If you go to, I'm looking at their website right now. You go to www.gsconstruction.ca. You slide right on down. There's a great shot of all the heavy equipment and a semi and all this cool stuff that the Sandman has. Ready to work? Yes. And then you click ready to work, and then it says you're hired. Here's your first paycheck. Actually, it has a great introduction to GS Construction. Then you click on job openings. And you can slide on there and see all the positions available. It's got more in the Next Up Person program as well. So, lots going on over at gsconstruction.ca. Lots going on around here as well. Maybe we bring Cass in as like give us a verdict on Tommy trying to kill Reed yesterday. What do you think, Gager?
Well, he's the one that's most proficient in murder mysteries. I think he's done the most of those.
Oh, he is a murder mystery guy.
Yeah, he gets done up. So if Cass can maybe come in one day looking exactly like either Inspector Clouseau or maybe a young Sherlock, and I can be your Watson.
Cass, I think you're muted, which is classic. I mean, that's guys. Do you have Cass muted, or is he muted himself? Oh my God. So Trev was teaching Hernan.
It's Hernan's
some
fault.
of the behind the scenes stuff. And now Cass is taking heat for being muted when usually he is the one who's screwing up the mute. But this time it was actually YouTube Trev and Nanso.
So can you hear
there
me?
You go. Now we can hear you, Cass.
No,
now
I was unmuted the whole time. I was ready to go. I was saying Gager would be a great Watson. Great Watson. Fantastic.
That's too good. Cass, would you shave Inspector Clouseau style mustache onto your face and then come in here and try to determine whether or not Gazzola accidentally tried to kill Reed Wilkins yesterday, or if it was on purpose?
Yeah, 100% I would.
I knew you would.
Yeah, I'm in.
I knew you would.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. I got rid of those cookies.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I figured, look, as the boss, I can't have something that could kill one of the employees sitting around the office.
No.
So I got rid of those two cookies and, of course, the scissors, because you never know what happens with those.
Well, I saw Tommy's face when he was looking for them earlier and couldn't find them. Damn it, Dusty. I did like when I came in and told him killer show. He was like, geez, Gager, let it die, I think he said, but then he realized what he did.
Yeah, I know it's a fun little thing.
It's a fun little thing.
It's nice to have jokes around the office, right?
Tommy's been the brunt of them here. It's like just everything.
Yeah.
Still, I giggle. I was giggling today just walking the dog, thinking about that one text from that texter who only sent in 2 with the additional 2 weweeks of summer, if you could see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that might end up winning text of the year. Like,
that was hilarious. That was so funny.
All right. We got lots to get to. Obviously, we'll get into the preseason game last night. Cass, I see you're already going full Matt Kassian over in the YouTube chat today. That's great. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, you can text us your thoughts at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. $1.99. And Fazilla Moose, I see you over there. I will block you if you say anything that is ridiculous. Okay, let's start with here. Emily Kaplan had the story. The Golden Knights will pay Robin Lehner for the final year of his $25 million contract, but the goalie will not count against Vegas' salary cap, sources have told ESPN. The resolution will reach Thursday after a lengthy discussion among the team, the NHL, and the NHLPA. Lehner, 33, is owed $4.4 million this season to complete a 5-year contract. Lehner did not report to training camp for a mandatory physical, which is required by the collective bargaining agreement for players to be placed on the LTIR. But sources told ESPN that there was a specific reason the goalie could not be in Vegas, which the Team, League, and Players Association were well aware of, given the sensitive nature of Lehner's situation. League sources called it an unprecedented and highly unique case. Now, ESPN reached out to Lehner, and he said he would not be making comments at this time. He last played in 2022, underwent hip surgery that summer, rehabbed away from the team. Just to continue with the story, the Swedish-born goalie has been an outspoken advocate over the last few years, asking for more understanding around mental health. He's opened up about his experiences with bipolar disorder, ADHD, and PTSD, which has led to some substance abuse. I know other fan bases are like, wait, you're going to pay this guy, but the cap hit just doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of other fan bases are like classic NHL, trying to help Vegas in this situation. Cass, have first word on this, buddy. What do you think of this current situation?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it in the comments section of the YouTube already while I was going full caps, yelling at people. But I think I understand it, and take you have to take the hat off that says, well, look at what Vegas did in the playoffs with the cap and cap circumvention. That you got to take that cap away, or that hat off. Just to take it off for a minute, and put your thinking hat on, and think this through. So Vegas, according to the CBA, and him not showing up, is able to void the contract. Now, if they void the contract, it's not on the books, right? Cancel contract. They don't have a hit against the cap. Now, they're looking at this, and the NHL is probably looking at this and saying, okay, there's probably, again, we don't know exactly what those reasons are, but there's legitimate reasons he cannot be there.
As I said, unprecedented.
Unprecedented. Yep. If they void the contract, they're in for a legal battle with the NHLPA and with Robin Lehner to say that, no, you shouldn't be able to do this. And when you go to that, the happy medium for the NHLPA and for the NHL to play nice is to say, okay, we'll pay him, but we can't have that count against the cap because according to the CBA, they could terminate it. So it's not fair to Vegas where it's a situation they terminate it. It becomes a big legal battle. The NHL and NHLPA are fighting. You're starting to try to have, CBA negotiations that we've recently heard about that are beginning to occur. And it's just like, well, it could turn already messy situation into an absolute catastrophe of a messy situation. And so the happy medium that keeps the NHL happy, that keeps Vegas happy, that keeps Robin Lehner happy, that keeps creditors of Robin Lehner happy, if with reports of what's going on, is to say, okay, we're still going to pay him, but it's not going to count against the cap because, they could try to cancel this contract or they could cancel it and then you end up in a big fight. So to me, they're just trying to, you're playing both sides a little bit here of the NHL and the NHLPA. So I don't think it's being unbiasedly gracious towards the Vegas Golden Knights because they might be able to try to cancel it, right? And if you tried to force that, then they cancel it and it's a big fight. So to me, this is just trying to keep everybody happy, to keep the situation as calm as possible, and not create an even just bigger cluster of a situation.
Gage, do you think this is how it had to go down?
Yeah. I was under the understanding when I first was looking into this that both parties knew that he wasn't going to be there.
That he wasn't going to show up.
Yeah, because of a circumstance that he just couldn't be in Vegas at that time to do the testing. He hasn't played a game in 3 years? He would have gone on LTIR anyways this year. But and when I read this story, it just said it puzzled me because, okay, both parties knew he wasn't going to be there, but then the Vegas Golden Knights were researching, well, can we void the contract because he's not here? But they knew the reasons why he couldn't show up in the first place. I don't see why he just couldn't come later and go through the testing and then be basically deemed that he couldn't play. This hip surgery that he has gone through, he can't play anymore. He's not playing ever again. So that. Is it really cap circumvention because this guy wasn't going to play this year anyways and just go on LTIR and go off into the sunset? Like his play, from all I understand with Robin Lehner right now, is he's essentially a retired professional hockey player.
Yeah, and that's you speak true in that, Gager. That's like even if he was there for medicals, I mean he's on LTIR, so sit and complain about the cap for Vegas in this situation to me is just I don't think that's what's going on here, and that they're trying to circumvent with this. It's a unique situation. It's a complex situation. He would have been on LTIR anyways. So if you're a fan of a different team and this is really bothering you, just don't.
He was on LTIR. He was on LTIR last year, right, and the year before. So
so don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Calvin C says, guys, I'll predict a Swayman trade to Vegas for Aiden Hill. Can you imagine they use this cap space and then that would be kind of funny.
That would be good.
All right, so that's the current situation there. We didn't want to spend too much time on it, but everybody was talking about it. Had to kind of address it right off the top. We are going to get to our next 10 names on the somewhat accurate list I've used in Excel to put together our top 30 players. We'll go 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. And then we'll save the top 10 for next Tuesday show right before the Oilers regular season begins. We did get Oilers preseason action again last night. They gave up a bunch of goals again last night, but it is still the preseason. With that being said, I think everybody uses the preseason as an evaluation tool. So, Gager, let's evaluate a few things from last night. What do you like? What do you not like about the game last night?
I liked the look of, they had a good power play that created some chaos and scored one of their patented finding Leon off to the side. There was a couple good shifts with Leon and Arvidsson and Skinner where they really dominated. So that was probably the high point of the night for me, just to say, okay, there's something there. They've been together for a bit and you've seen them go up against a team that had a lot of regular NHLers on it and make them look quite ordinary. So that was good. Their play in the second period was pretty dominating, I would say. I think the shots were 16 or 15 to 4. Yeah. The unfortunate side of things, all 4 of those shots went in. That's and that was kind of the downside of that period. But yeah, I'm chalking that up to, it just doesn't look like they're at full. The Oilers' top guys aren't at full gear yet. And I don't know if they're holding back or just waiting, just trying to feel their way into things. But yeah, I don't take much into it, unfortunately, for Rodrigue to have that type of performance.
Tough for him to kind of get that shot, Cass, and then not have anything, positive come out of it.
Yeah, nothing positive at all. And some of it wasn't his fault. Some of the deflections where you're like, yeah, it's not like they're horrible goals, but at the same time, puck still goes behind you, so it doesn't look good. I think, and there's a lot of people in the nasty chat too. The concern, if you're taking concern, still is on the defensive side of the puck, still with the defenseman. Now, this was Darnell Nurse's first game, so let's give a little grace here. He's got one more, and then we can start to evaluate much more seriously when the regular season starts. But as far as a play standpoint, they wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say dramatically outplayed the Seattle Kraken, but they were a better team. They get some better goaltending. Seattle doesn't capitalize on quite literally every single chance that they have. They probably win that hockey game. So from an overall play standpoint, they were fine. No need to freak out, but to look at that and decide, not good for Rodrigue, Pickard, depending on how long he's out, not necessarily a great situation, or maybe this isn't the guy, because for some time we've been talking about how he could be the one to come in and be a backup at some point. Don't know if that's the case. Now it's one game, but Rodrigue didn't look very good.
Tommy did say on Oil Stream yesterday that Pickard has been taking some shots. So hopefully he'll be ready by the beginning of the regular season. Yeah. All right. 780-218-9999. Draisaitl. This text comes in 403 number, no name on this text, but Draisaitl and Arvidsson look great together. Skinner's still a work in progress. I do think he will get there though. And then Hampton Steve is in and says, hey, afternoon, boys. Sound like Dermott is going to get a contract. We were told last night that they were working on something with Dermott. Anyway, he says, I think most people think Brown should be waived, but based on the lineup last night and throughout the preseason, it seems like the coaching staff is forcing Brown into that third pair D role. If that's the case, who gets waived between Emberson, Stetcher, and Dermott? Because we don't think they're going to keep 8 defensemen here to start the season. Gager, where's where's the market set right now on these defensemen who are battling for these spots?
Oh, are you ranking? You want me?
Well, I mean, if you want to rank them, I think our rankings would be probably
Dermott,
similar. But
after that performance, he scores, right? He had another good chance. Like
he's on the ice for a few against too.
Yeah. But when I looked at, I didn't watch the whole thing, but when I watched him, it seemed like he was okay. It's just the Brown didn't look comfortable out there. He hasn't looked comfortable yet.
Yeah.
And I was probably as surprised as most people were when I saw the lineups and saw where Brown and who he was playing with and kind of slotting him into that role. Look, I think it's still up for grabs. If you're saying who's going to get sent down, I mean, to me, I think it's a no-brainer. It's Brown, considering the play to the other guys.
He's not going to get claimed either.
Then you think, okay, well, if I want to send someone down who I don't think is going to get claimed, I think I would probably lean more towards Stetcher at this point because I think he would pass just his age.
You don't think Brown's going to get claimed?
Yeah, but
I would
again,
be stunned.
We're getting into the waters of this guy was signed July 1st. Someone made this decision and wants to look good that they made this choice of giving this guy $3 million.
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years. But yeah, this seems like more of a ego chest puffing moment with Brown other than he should start in Bakersfield.
Cass, what do you think to do with Brown? I mean, you've got Stetcher.
Put him on waivers.
Yeah.
No one's picking him up.
No one's picking him up.
Stetcher's probably not getting picked up, but maybe he gets picked up. Right, there's a higher chance he gets picked up than Brown. Brown, no one's touching that 3-year contract after that preseason. Nobody's touching it. So
no.
That's what I think what should happen here. I think like logic and common sense would be Dermott gets a contract, league minimum. Congratulations, you're still in the league. Let's see where it goes. They'll probably start Emberson with Darnell Nurse. You can play Dermott with Kulak. Stetcher can be your 7, and Brown gets waived and sent down. I think is that not kind of what makes sense?
You're taking your smart pills too much, Dusty. Your make sense pills.
I don't know. I think I don't know why you wouldn't do that, Cass. What would be the reason that that's not how the next 5 days plays out for the Oilers blue line?
That's how it should play out.
Yeah, I know.
But again, I think
what reasons? I mean, maybe you don't want to give a contract to Dermott. Maybe you decide against it. That would be the only other thing is you just let him go. But I think he's played well enough to earn that spot for a league minimum deal. So I can't see it going another way. But yeah,
but it has to be league minimum,
before, boys.
Right? It has to be league minimum. So
it has to be.
That's what he has. This is what we have to give you. There's no negotiation, which is fine.
A lot of people are saying, guys, we can only hope he does get claimed. It's fair enough. I mean, but I just don't see it happening.
Maybe LA does it because with the Doughty injury, you never know, right?
No chance. No chance. There's a few guys that just went through waivers unclaimed. Oh, these guys are on waivers today, I guess. Waivers today out of Calgary. Tenorti, Hunt, Walker Dewar. Winnipeg's got Lundmark, Shaw, and Tornado. Toronto's put in Abruzzese. How do you say it? Abruzzese? Abruzzese on the on waivers. Blankenberg in Nashville. Aspel and Magna. Dalpe and Bjornfoot for Florida. Fleury with Seattle. And then Koch, McCartney, and Gozino with Utah. So those are guys, according to Puckpedia, on waivers today. And I don't think you have to worry about either of those guys being claimed, but I think Stetcher would be an easier claim for somebody than Brown. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be. But I'm just salary.
So
Yeah.
I brought this up today on That Hurts for James H. Brown on the Nielsen show. And I said, like, we were all kind of guilty of it when at free agency, it was just like, oh, man, they signed Arvidsson there. They're not keeping Henrique. Oh, my God, they got Henrique. Well, that'll be it. What? They added Skinner. Like, I did the math on this morning. They spent $12.5 million this offseason on Henrique, Skinner, Arvidsson, Matthias Janmark, Corey Perry. And now we're still sitting here going like, what is happening on the right side of their back end? Now, when they signed those guys, Ceci was still here. Broberg hadn't been sniped yet. So maybe I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But Cass, as an organization, it also doesn't look like very great planning either. When you get all these guys and you go, oh, we're going to have to move Ceci maybe for cap implications. And we didn't make Broberg a priority, and now he's gone. Oh, by the way, Dylan Holloway on the first line at Blues practice today. Yeah, so I don't know what that means, but
who cares?
But Cass, it almost seems like they just didn't plan properly in the blue line, and now they find themselves in this horrible situation. Like,
well, the Broberg thing was a curveball.
Yeah,
right? That was a curveball. That's fair to say. Oh well, how can you really plan for that? Which is fine, but then you traded Ceci after the offer sheets went in. And it's just like, there's so many people that had so many issues with CC, but you just have a glaring hole in that right side right now, where if CC was still here, it's not. Now you're probably looking at it and going, okay, we still could, try to improve that defense at some point, improve that right side at some point, move him out at some point. And doubly so if you knew that Evander Kane was most likely going to be on LTI or out for a significant period of time like that. The planning to me is like, the second you traded CC, I'm like, unless there's something that's happening right away, it didn't make sense to me. It still doesn't make sense to me. I know there's people that disagree with that, but it just is kind of like, okay, well, what were you thinking is going to happen? Like, Emberson's going to come in and be the guy. He's ready to be that with Darnell Nurse. And I don't know that he is. So yeah, it's call it lack of planning, call it a couple poor decisions, call it, being put into an emotional state of distress with the offer sheets, call it whatever you want. But they got some work to do on that defense still. And I'm going to be talking about it, and Tommy's going to be talking about it, and Hernan's going to be talking about it over and over and over again on the pre and post game show. I mean, that's going to be the storyline for the first part of the season, depending on how it goes, is going to be that right side of the defense. And, they put themselves in a position where they have to most likely at some point here, try to find something quickly that is going to work.
This text comes in, and I just don't think we need to. It says, what right shot D could they have signed July 1st instead of Skinner? No, what I'm saying is you don't spend the money on Skinner, and you keep CC on the back. And, and at the time, we're all like, oh, this, but you didn't realize that they were going to move CC and that Broberg was going to get scooped up on you know what I mean? You could have given yourself more flexibility to keep that. Like, imagine where we're sitting here talking right now, and I don't even want to say they don't have Skinner but if their blue line just had CC and Broberg now, there would be no conversation about the blue line. No. You'd be like, okay, well, CC will play with Nurse, and Broberg will start with Kulak, and if he continues to develop, he gets to play with Nurse, and then CC and Kulak's a really, really good third pair for you. It just seemed like a little bit of oversight, or didn't think they were going to get put in the spot they were put in, I guess.
Well, Cass, you mentioned it when it actually happened, that GMs, this is the kind of way things went. They squeezed their younger players because of where the team is pushed up against the cap. That was what was remaining. And still great job by the St. Louis Blues. It was a masterful job, to steal those two young players. But yeah, we were all jacked when we saw those signings. To see, it was like, oh my gosh, Henrique came back.
It just kept coming.
It was like, what is going on here? This is amazing for a team that you weren't really too worried about offense to begin with. That now you were even adding more offensive punch was crazy. Obviously, there was still the question marks at D, but now, come next Wednesday night, if the Winnipeg Jets expose certain players on the defensive side, like if Emberson doesn't have just a good game. Like, I'm not saying he has to become Paul Coffey in the first game, but like if there's things that he does, and maybe there's some giveaways, if Brown's playing and just can't, by the end he's not even seeing the ice, then you're really, and I know it's only one game, but Dan Bowman said that he wants to see where he's at with his D to start the season.
Evaluate and see what's up.
See what's up. And how do you, preseason, you get a sense, but you really know what you have once you get full rosters of NHL players on them. You're going to have to wait and see how this kind of works out, I would say. But you have to do something sooner rather than later, because teams aren't going to be willing to help the Oilers solidify their right side with what they have on the forward side.
Jazz Siggy Rocker over on the Nasty Chat on YouTube. Of course, you can text us as well, 780-218-9999. Almost 200 of you watching right now. So hammer the thumbs up first here on Two Guys and Goalie, presented by GS Construction. Jazz Siggy Rocker says, I think Emberson is going to be better. A lot of potential there. And I just want to know why do we see, like, any guy who's 24, I guess, has potential, but why would we describe Emberson as a lot of potential there? Like, I don't understand. I'm curious. I would love somebody to give me the reason why people are seeing a lot of potential in a guy who's played 30 games for the San Jose Sharks, was a third-round pick, was waived last year. I'm trying to figure out why the term "a lot of potential" would be used on Emberson.
It's Cass's analytical people. They've been, but
I don't know. I can't think of a legitimate answer just yet to this. Let's see. There's the potential there. Sure, it's a guy getting a fresh start. He's a little bit familiar with the coach. But he's still only played 30 games in the National Hockey League, and another team already gave up on him and gave him away for free. So I just don't know if I would describe it as a lot of potential. But
we're not all big fans of the plus minus stat. I don't think it tells the whole story, but it does kind of. You look at the San Jose Sharks, and I believe he finished plus 15 last year, and they were...
No, he was minus 4.
Oh, never mind that. I'll just be quiet. I thought he was a plus player.
No, I think some of his other analytical numbers were... You know how this fan base is. We have a strong analytical group in the community. Yeah. You see some of the numbers and go, okay, there's a ton of potential here, but I don't know. It seems like a pretty small sample size to describe somebody as having a lot of potential. Cass, am I being too high? I think it's not even about the guy. It's just about the way he's being viewed, I guess.
Yeah.
In town before we've ever even seen him, really.
Yeah. There's a lot of hope built into that statement. There's a lot of potential, right? Where it's like, oh, he could be much better than we see right now. Like, there could be more. And it's not to take anything away from where he's at right now, where he looks like an NHL defenseman. But when for defensemen like that, when we say there's a lot of potential, this guy's got a lot of potential. You're kind of like, okay, that means top 4 potential. When I hear that, like a guy that can play regularly in your top 4, play maybe in your top pairing, there's a lot of growth there. And I don't doubt that there's the ability to grow. As you mentioned, he's only played a few NHL games.
Yeah, he's 24.
He's young. So yes, there is potential there. But I don't get where they're saying like, oh, there's a lot of potential there. Now, maybe we're wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Is there potential there? Yes. I'd be hesitant to say there's a lot or there's a ton or get all excited about it yet.
This is not a 30-year-old who got a 3-year deal and doesn't look like he can play. Like, yeah.
Right. Like when I hear, a lot of potential, watch the Columbus Blue Jackets and Denton Mateychuk. Like, that's a guy you look at and you go, that's a lot of potential.
I watched him. I watched it. Yeah. I mean, he's a first round pick. Those are the guys you use that for. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the guy you're like, oh, there's a lot of potential there. Hasn't quite hit it yet, but you watch some of what he does and you're like, oh, there's little flashes of kind of like a Cale Makar in there. And he can really do some things offensively.
You usually don't hear a guy who's 6 years removed from his draft year, has been waived once, and has played 30 NHL games as a guy who's having a lot of potential. It's just
exactly.
Yeah, it's just a fair statement.
Now, if you want to say, oh, there's more there, or he still is developing, and he's going to continue to improve, then yeah, I agree with you. I think he will, and I think there is. But to say that there's a lot of potential,
it's just
pretty tough.
Yeah, it's hard because unless they're that that blue chip first round defenseman. Most of other defensive players, you go, okay, well, when do they hit that 300 game mark as an NHL defenseman? Because that's when they say they really, it's the game starts slowing down. They're more comfortable. They can read plays better, but they say it takes about 300 games. That's a ways away.
Well, like he's 3 years away from that.
Yeah.
And they're a team that's trying to win the Stanley Cup now.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. Like it just, the timeline doesn't necessarily add up. All right. If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can fire your opinions in to the inbox at 780-218-9999. We can definitely get to a few more of the text messages as we work our way through the last year. Strats is in and says, guys, the Oilers are worse than last year. 3 of the top 7 D gone, one of whom was Broberg, a clear top 3 D in the Stanley Cup final for this team. Left with only 4 top 6 D men and 4 7/8s, and Skinner's a major downgrade on Holloway. So, hot takes flying in. We're ready for the season to start. It's
they just got to outscore their problems.
we got to drop the puck on a regular season so we can actually have a game that's meaningful.
Yeah.
And a post game, and it's just it's
Get the full scrubs on.
Gotta get
masks,
going here, like-
scalpel, and just dissect this thing.
Cass, can you imagine if they lose to the Jets next Wednesday, a week from yesterday, 5-1, and Josh Brown plays and he's -2, and Emberson and Nurse are -2? Can you imagine what that post game show will be like
Chaos.
for game one?
Chaos.
It'll win an
We'll have
Esty.
people texting in about
Yeah, it was.
Seaside metrics.
Oh, God. I think they're going to start well, man. I think they come out of the gate pretty good this year. I think I was saying on one of the other shows somewhere, I give me a 7-2-1 start. Start really well this year.
Wow.
Calm the nerves early.
I don't know if you heard we were playing the full clip of Connor in
That
between.
was something. We can't play it. It's
No,
too,
we can't.
like,
There's too vulgar.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to censor it.
yeah, there's just, you won't even hear what he's actually saying because there'll be too many beeps.
Yeah.
It'll just be too much.
Dick
but-
Venerette.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
pretty much. No, I mean to have your lead. I didn't know Connor could be like that.
Oh, he
right?
was fired up.
He was fired
Cass, have you seen this? Like they've got like a longer
No, I
clip
haven't
out
watched
now?
the full clip yet.
He
I'm
was,
just saving it 'cause I want to watch the full episode. So I haven't. I've seen snippets, but I haven't seen the full one. So I'm saving it. I want to savor it, so I'm saving it.
Well, when I saw that clip, that was the first time I was like, okay, I got to watch this show.
Yeah.
That's nothing against anything else or the other guys. I'm going to even watch the other episodes. I might just wait till they get to the McDavid or others
I think
episodes.
the slow burn. You got to go slow burn.
Well, maybe I might just skip it. I want to see that episode because he is losing it. Like it was 10, 11 F-bombs, and you could tell the anger in his voice. He sounded like the Hulk.
Well, the biggest thing, and you could probably have something to say with this too, Cass, is when your big dog is yelling and screaming, and it's like you could hear a pin drop. All you don't even hear sock tape. Like guys are like, oh my God, I think they're tearing it slowly just not to create anything else. Like it was dead silent except for Connor McDavid ripping into his teammates. It was
Incredible clip.
It took me back.
That would people. I mean, unless he's doing it all the time, which I highly doubt.
I don't think
he would.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
It was something.
I think he's smart enough to know that creates the Charlie Brown teacher's voice if you do it too much.
Yeah.
And it just means so much more if you don't hear it and then all of a sudden that comes out. Wow. Well, Bruce Banner.
It was good. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to track that down. It's already out on. I think I saw it on. Trev showed me. It was on Twitter or Instagram or something. Okay, we're gonna get to our next 10 here on the top 30 players in the league. I did want to get to this. Somebody texted in and says, guys, all we can hope for is that Nurse and Brown are on the same pickleball team this year and win it, because last year Holloway and Broberg won pickleball. Both of them are gone. Cass, I'll lay this out for you. I talked about it a little bit today. So let's say we have a 5-team tournament here at the office. The teams are as follows: pickleball teams. Myself and Lieutenant Eric, Tommy and Maddie on the hangout, Trev and Zach, Gager and Hernan, Reed Wilkins and the glue guy Jay Milne. Who are you picking to be the favorite and win a pickleball tournament here at the office?
Probably Gager.
Whoa.
Gager's group. Yep.
Might have been my last thought. Hernan, you just got picked by Cass. You and Gager to win a pickleball tournament in the office. You would have picked you guys too. I definitely wouldn't have picked me and Eric. I was probably leaning towards Zach and Trev.
Yeah, Zach
mostly
and
Trev. Zach might not be good at paddle sports.
No, but
Zach says he'd blow his knee out.
Probably could. Yeah, hang in there.
I think I could get in their heads though. Like they're mental midgets.
I think they're probably all scared of Hernan.
Well, and you could do this real quick.
Oh yeah, I can.
Sorry, glue guy.
Ageism stuff against my guy Reed is really.
Well, yeah. Did you say ageism? Well,
I'm the oldest guy here.
Gager's the oldest guy here. They just picked him.
No, that's good.
All right. Well, congratulations, Gager.
Thank you. Thank you, Cass. Wow.
I've never played any of that, but I would really like to try pickleball. I can't wait till I'm like 60. Yeah, I'm going to be a pickleball guy.
No, I've looked at paddles actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
Without even playing before?
Yeah, I thought maybe just getting the paddle.
That'll force you to go out.
Yeah, there's some courts, for a little bit longer, but I felt like putting on the gear, going down with the paddle and the briefcase, like Color of Money, and pulling it out. Anyone want a game?
That'd be good. Somebody should build a place where there's pickleball courts and then there's a dog park right next to it. So you can go drop your dog off. The dog can run around, play for 45 minutes, and you can play pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our middle section of our top 30 players in the National Hockey League right now, according to a panel of the three of us. Let's see here. 21 through 30 in my scribbles at the bottom after I recalculated some things. Nylander was 21. Pettersson was 22. Somebody who starts with an H was 23. Oh, Heiskanen was 23. Fox was 24. 25 was Bouchard. 26 was Hyman. 27, man, my writing is awful. 27, Marner. 28, Roman Josi. 29, Eichel. And 30, Connor Hellebuck. All right, let's get to number 20 on the list. Cash, you were the highest on this guy, so we'll let you start. Kirill Kaprizov coming in at number 20 on our list of the top 30 players in the National Hockey League. Phenomenal offensive talent.
I had him at 14. Huge offensive talent. The only reason you guys don't have him higher on the list is because he plays in Minnesota.
Says the former member of the Minnesota Wild. Classic.
If he played in Toronto,
fair enough,
he would probably be inching up on that top 10.
Yeah, okay, you win. I mean,
you just see it more often. You'd hear about it more often. But he is absolutely dynamic offensively. He hasn't had a lot of players to play with, and he still finds ways to produce an elite level offensively. He's one of the best players in the league. Yeah, he should be higher than where he is on this poll. But both you guys hate his guts because he's from another country. So, man, I actually had him below this mark. I'm surprised by that. I should have had Kaprizov a little bit higher. I'll admit to it right now. Gage, your thoughts on Kaprizov? And you had him pretty low too.
He was injured a bit last year, I believe. Like their playoff hopes hinge on his health and how he does. What did I have him at? Do you know?
You had him like in the low 20s.
Yeah. So
it was 2 years ago. He only played 67 games, 75 points. Last year he had 96 points at 75 games.
Okay, so
46 goals, 96 points, and you guys got him that low on the list. Garbage.
Yeah, no, that's probably. Louise. Well, I don't watch many games.
That's just it because
I'm
not watching many Minnesota Wild games.
I'm re-looking at my list. I don't even think I put this list together. I don't know who did, because on my list I had Marner one spot ahead of him, and I refuse to believe that. I don't know what happened with this list. It might have been my computer. Remember I said things are acting up?
It's acting
I must have screwed up. A computer must have done this. This computer was originally made in Toronto. That's the reason. Then, all right. So anyway, Kaprizov's number 20 on our list. Right above him, after this guy, we don't have another defenseman until we get into the top 10. Victor Hedman, still going. He's number 19 on our list. Gager, I mean, just a steady Eddie for like almost 15 bloody years.
Yeah, now he's got the C, minute muncher, maybe not as much offense, but he's going to be playing against the top guys all season long and still be successful. But I think he'd probably be lower, but just his age now puts him a little bit higher.
I had him as go ahead, Kaz.
I'll just say he'll slowly drop down the list here as time moves on.
Yeah.
yeah, he still fully deserves to be on there.
Like I was the highest on him. I had him at 17. I think he's just so different than the younger, flashier defenseman now that we just forget that he's anchored blue lines to Stanley Cup championships. And I still think at the age of 33, he's totally capable of that. Like the 76 points he had this past year was the second highest point total of his National Hockey League career. Like and scoring was up. I get it. But I think Hedman's just an absolute stud.
He is.
He was taken second behind John Tavares. If you were to go back and redo that draft, would you go Hedman?
Yeah. No
Cash, you go Hedman? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I realized why I didn't have Kaprizov lower. I saw a video of him doing a tug of war with
Another tug of war team?
No, it was the Russian guy, New Jersey big scorer, Kovalchuk. He was doing it, and Kovalchuk was destroying him, so he lost points.
But Kovalchuk was a freak, though, wasn't he? Like,
yeah, but still, it shouldn't have been that. It looked like the big dog, small dog. It was funny.
How old is Kovalchuk? Could he still be grinding out some OV years here?
SKA,
No, he's got
Petersburg, I think.
Is he still playing somewhere? He's 41 now.
Oh, is he?
Played 20 games last year in the K. 8 points, 4 goals. All right. Sorry, let's keep moving along. I got distracted there. Number 19 was Victor Hedman. Number 18 was the first of 2 Tkachuk brothers on this list. Brady Tkachuk, the Ottawa Senator. Cass, where did you have Tkachuk on this list? Yeah, you were the highest on him, so go ahead. What do you think about Tkachuk being in the top 20 here?
I think he should be. Guy that plays center, plays physical, maybe not quite as many offensive gifts quite as his brother, but he's a fantastic player. I would assume you guys both had him in the top 30 and maybe a little bit of a different spot, but no, you guys probably had him higher. I had him the lowest. I had him at 27 on here for me.
Gager, you had him at the highest. Sorry,
yeah. Like where he should be on the list. I didn't have him. Yeah, I didn't have him over that 20 spot. He was in 27 for me.
Sorry, I was reading my Excel sheet wrong.
You had him highest. He's I look at him as a huge cog in the wheel of a team. Like how he drives everyone else goes.
He's like outside of him and his brother. Name another power forward in the National Hockey League.
It's hard, man. Like
right off the top of your head. Like I'm looking at the rest of our top 20. I don't see one on there.
Not
maybe like do we view Draisaitl and like Rantanen as those guys nowadays? Is that JT Miller maybe? Yeah, there's not a lot of them though. Like
I mean, Braden Point sort of.
What about Zibanejad?
Zibanejad not on the list.
No, I know.
No, but I know what you're saying. All right, number 17 on the list. It's the only other goalie on the list outside of Hellebuck. We're all in the same range on him. Gage, you're the goalie on 2 guys and a goalie. Igor Shesterkin, 17th best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he makes his team a lot better, covers up some defensive deficiencies a lot of the time. His ability to keep his team in games, always competitive, and he's done it at the playoff level too, where he's been fantastic. So yeah. He's definitely a top 20 guy.
Cash, should a goalie in general, including Shesterkin himself, be higher on this list than 17? Are we selling goalies short on the top 30 players in the league right now?
Nope. Look at the teams that have won a cup the last number of years. How many of those goalies are on here?
Well, there's only 2 goalies on here, and none of them have won a cup. So,
Vasilevsky.
You had Vasilevsky at like 34.
Yeah. There's not many Carey Price's Vasilevskys anymore, though.
No, there's not, because there's a lot more goalie tandems. They're playing slightly less games, and as we have said, and we'll say again, you don't need the best goaltending in the league to win a Stanley Cup. You need good goaltending. It needs to be good in the playoffs. It needs to be above average in the playoffs, but you don't need like spectacular goaltending throughout the entirety of the playoffs to win a cup. You need good goaltending. And the goal scoring or two-way like elite centermen matter more. Elite defensemen matter more, and that's not to take away from the position, but The reality is it just out of the, we talk about you need two really good forwards or like two centermen or, two stud guys on offense. You need one absolute stud guy generally on defense. And then you need good goaltending. And that goaltending though of those is at the bottom of the list, which is why there's just not a lot of them on here.
It also is Skinner can win a Stanley Cup for the Oilers, right? Like I think when you look at the level of goaltenders, Skinner is at that level. Some people might disagree in the market, but I think he's at that level. Number 16 on the list, Braden Point. He comes in at 37 on the list. Gager, you were the high man on Braden Point. Go ahead.
Yeah, just goal scorer. He
does everything really.
It'll be interesting now that Stamkos is gone. He's got a little bit more responsibility. See how he does, but yeah, he's just playing with the Cooch. They're one of the best duos in the league.
Let's keep moving here. We got about 5 minutes of being through these guys. Cass, Jack Hughes comes in number 15 on the list. You and I both had him relatively high on our list. I mean, if he stays healthy this year, there's 100 points coming down the pipe for Jack Hughes, isn't there?
Yep. I mean, you got to think so. On a team that hopefully has some better goaltending now. Yep. I hope he gets 100 here. He's fantastic.
I'd sprinkle a little Hart Trophy mix in there for him.
Oh,
yeah, right. Like
maybe not this year. Next year's
at some point.
A little bit of adult meanness, a little bit more drive because he still has that rookie, like
still
younger
boyish,
guy.
Yeah,
a little boyish.
He's still good though. Holy smokes! We've got Sid the Kid, Sidney Crosby, 14th on the list. Probably the highest he'll ever be at this point, I think. But I still think pretty respectful from us to have Sidney Crosby at number 14 on this list.
Look, this guy takes his gear and goes and skates at an outdoor rink if he finds it. Of course, he belongs in the top 20. What he's been able to accomplish, you can't count this guy out.
Cass, where did you have him here?
I had him 19.
You had him 19. So do you think he's too high at 14 then? On our consensus rankings, Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him that high, but I don't begrudge anybody. It's not, I can't come up with an argument to say, there's no way he should be 14th. Like I could say there's no way he should be in the top 10. Again, I have him towards that 19 spot, 20 spot in there. But still Sid the Kid, still a fantastic, unbelievable player.
All right, let's group the next three forwards together, 13, 12, and 11. That'll take us up to our top 10, which we will end up hitting on Tuesday's show with Two Guys and a Goalie. JT Miller's number 13, Barkov's number 12, and Artemi Panarin is number 11. Gage, your thoughts on those three guys? Do you see much separation between any of them?
Yeah, I would have Panarin lowest on the list, or highest on the list, I guess, in those three. What did I forget?
And you did.
Yeah.
You had Panarin. No, you had JT Miller one spot higher than Panarin.
Yeah.
You had Barkov a little bit lower. Cass and I were higher on Barkov.
Really? Again, they're very meaningful players to their teams. But I really look at JT Miller being a huge difference maker, whereas he can score, do everything, and also be the thorn in the side of the other team's best players.
Cass, what do you think of those three guys right there together?
Yeah. I mean, I probably had JT Miller the lowest. I think I had him ranked 20th. He is an impact player. He can take over games. He's absolutely someone I'd want on my team. But if I'm thinking best players in the league, I think he's a little further down on that list. I think Panarin has more capacity, and I think Barkov still just plays a better two-way game. Not that Miller plays a bad two-way game. He plays a great two-way game. But I think Barkov's still a little bit better. And just the raw talent and the explosiveness that Panarin can bring offensively for you just has me have those guys a little bit higher than JT Miller.
You and I both have Barkov in the top 10. We both had him at 9 on our list. I think Barkov's just a stud. He's delivered. Like he's just he's
2 weeks later he was doing drills on the ice. Yeah. Like it's a different beast. That guy.
We talk about Kaprizov if he played in Toronto. Can you imagine? I know they already hype up the boys that they got.
Yeah.
But can you imagine a Barkov in Toronto or Montreal? God, the Habs.
It would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
If Barkov was anywhere else but down in Florida, where they have 50 people to the Stanley Cup parade.
Yeah.
It would be
that's kind of
amazing.
A little bit of a tough look. We will get to, so on Tuesday, we will have our official predictions for the Edmonton Oilers upcoming season. We'll get to our top 10 players in the National Hockey League, as well as we get set to drop the puck on another regular season. Did you catch the third episode of
Agatha?
Agatha?
I watched the first one.
You only watched the first one?
Yeah, I've only watched the first one.
I've watched all three now.
Good?
It's not bad.
Okay, yeah.
It's not bad. I'm going to keep watching it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll keep watching it,
Yeah.
see where it goes.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I could kind of see where it was going. So, but I'll have my review next.
Cass, what are you watching lately?
I've been slowly chipping away at the McMahon documentary.
Oh, you have, eh?
It's good.
Yeah. I watched
It's been really good.
Yeah.
My wife just kind of looks at me. She's like, I have no interest in this, but I'm like, I don't care.
This is what we're watching. I watched the first 6 minutes of it. McMahon creeps me out.
Oh,
like with the
so-
work
oh,
that's
yeah.
been done, like his face, he looks like some sort of little puppet. Like
Yeah.
it's
No, that's so why wouldn't you?
I
There's
hate
something
that.
to be said. There's something to be said. Let's call it aging gracefully, where it's just like, what's wrong? Like, why do you need to do that?
you're gonna get old.
Yeah.
Like everybody's gonna get old.
Even
you're not fooling anybody.
Bradley Cooper got some
No,
work done.
he didn't.
Yeah.
he's a handsome man.
I know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he looks all weird.
I don't. Have you ever seen anybody get work done and you're like, yeah, that's good? Like even think
no.
Jennifer Aniston got a little bit of work
Halle
done, and I'm
Berry.
like, you're killing me.
Halle Berry looks good.
But she didn't get any work done.
A little bit.
Did she get a little work
I
done
think
too?
a little.
Man, I don't get it.
Just age. You know what? Just age gracefully. Just age gracefully.
Wolves
Don't-
on Apple TV
You
with
mean
with Casamigos guy and Brad Pitt there.
I can't believe Bradley Cooper
Clooney.
got work done.
They've aged gracefully, right? Like
George Clooney.
George Clooney. Like those are two very good-looking older men, right?
I feel that Pitt probably has had some stuff done though.
You think so?
I think so.
Maybe just a chemical peel.
Bradley Cooper, what are you doing?
Hey, did you see it?
I don't know. I'm trying to look for it.
Yeah, there was a big thing. He's had a little tightening. Yeah, you just don't want to be like McMahon, where the skin, like it looks like he's got a man bun in the back because it's all skin ponytail, but it's.
I want to do some tightening right around here. That's what I got to do. I got some tightening right there. For people listening, I was putting my hands over my belly. All right, that's going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie today. We got EST Afternoons coming up with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage. Hernan's going to be furious because he's like, don't you make Gager talk about Brown
So funny.
on Two Guys.
Says that
today.
every time.
I know, he's always come up with other stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
EST Afternoons will have a chance to get in on that EST Flyway to Los Angeles. And, of course, the Reed Wilkins Show from 3 to 6 today. If you're watching on YouTube, stick around. Just turn on autoplay. That'll take you right on over to EST Afternoons. If you're listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, that is coming up here right away. I will talk to you tomorrow from South Ford Chevrolet, 6 o'clock on the Nielson Show. Guys, good chat today. Talk to you next week.